guys, what's up? Rob here, the Medicare minister, and I'm back with a brand new interview with a gentleman that I met at our first ever Medicare con. And listen, I just felt like he brought the house down and was very motivated by his talk and inspired, and I had to meet him. And, everything that I learned from the Medicare conference just really inspired me to really lean into this channel. So I'm very humbled, Ricky, that you would be on the channel with us today and on this episode with us. Very thankful. And guys, I just want everybody to welcome Mr. Ricky Ballard to the Medicare Minister YouTube channel podcast. And Ricky, thanks so much for being here with us, my friend.
Absolutely, man. What an amazing platform. I love Medicare Minister. That's fire. That's the good stuff. So excited to be on, and I just appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, just kind of give you a little background is we went to 8% last year, and about a year and a half ago was just really doing inspirational stuff. It's just who I am. I believe leaders are readers. I believe you got to, bathe daily in motivation and inspiration, not only from a faith perspective in my case, but also just from a self-help perspective. And just started doing that. And Justin Brock, the Medicare guru, who's our owner and president here in Tupelo, just started giving me the platform, and I went to 8% and was just encouraged. So many people said they were encouraged by what we were doing. And to be brutally honest, I didn't lean into it. I said I was going to and kind of put it on the back burner. And then I went to Medicare Con and just had people once again just saying they were inspired what we were doing, when was more content going to come out. And I just felt like, you know what, no more on the back burner. I'm just going to lean into this channel, and wanted to interview not only top leaders like yourself in our space, but also in other spaces, because I believe success breeds success, no matter if you're in the insurance or real estate or investing or whatever the niche may be. And so that's what I want to do today, Ricky, is just talk a little bit about you, just get a little like a sports center bio, if you will, little highlights of your story. And kind of how you got into this industry, because I know you're in the final expense industry, life insurance, but also in the Medicare space. I remember correctly, Medicare Advantage as well. Is that right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So can you just tell us a little bit of your background, kind of where you started and how you got into this space, and just let us know a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So started out as a football coach. My degree's in education. Spent time as a high school football coach in northern New Mexico and in East Texas. Neighbor of mine was selling final expense insurance, and we went to church together.
Okay.
And he's like, "We could really make a pretty good secondary income." My wife at that time was staying home and raising our children. My wife has also got a master's in literature and rights. And, I just figured I was going to be the head football coach, and she's going to be the librarian at some little country school, and we were just going to live our days out. And God had other plans, that's for sure. And so he got me hooked on this final expense. I went out with America UP1, so this is probably 9 years ago.
Okay.
America UP1 and had a Kemper product, and we went, hey, either go day one or you got a 2-year wait. And that's how I was trained in the business.
Right. I gotcha.
Got me going and learning. It was a great way to learn. No, I just didn't know anything at that time. And we wrote around 18,000 in ALP that month, and
wow.
So that kind of changed my life. I had to go back home and sit down with my family and say, is this something that we want to do? And I had been working lots of hours. I didn't have a lot of autonomy being a head football coach, and I really enjoyed the freedom of selling, and I really enjoyed, the service oriented of life insurance. I really enjoyed, the idea of that. And final expense, I enjoyed working with older people, and so I was like, oh man, this is going to be a pretty good deal, and the money was really good. So
yeah.
That was a motivator, so I just took it as a God thing that he had opened the door, and I started my company 9 years ago with $600 and a lot of sweat equity. And then I did that really just for 5 years. I just wrote insurance. I didn't do anything else. I played golf twice a week and sold insurance 4 days a week. And I really loved not being responsible for anybody or anything and just having the autonomy to do the things that I wanted to do. But then I just felt that my purpose or the platform God had given me didn't align with God's purpose. I felt like I really had a little bit of an empty because I wasn't coaching anymore. Wasn't coaching, wasn't recruiting, wasn't teaching, and I met Tyler Reese and Josh Benson over at Innovative, and they're like, "Hey, man, you know, they were aggressively wanting to scale and grow. If you've ever met those guys, they like to grow and they're good at it." And so Tyler said, "Man, I'll give you, and if you know Tyler, he'll give you anything. I'll give you anything you need, man, to help you grow and support you." And Josh said the same thing, and of course Ryan Strathmeyer was involved, and I said, "Man, I actually said no at first, and I went home and spoke to my family and said, hey, you know, I think I have a chance here to shoot a shot, and we're all gonna have to make sacrifices. I've got 5 kids at the house, and so I said, you know, or Dad's gonna have to go back to working the long hours and doing the things, and you know, we sold a couple houses and some land and did some things so that I was financially stable to be able to start growing and recruiting and slow my pin down. And you know, because I just felt like I didn't want to take the responsibility of somebody else's livelihood on my head if I wasn't ready. My family sat down. We said, yeah, we moved out of a big old 4,500 square foot home into a little or a smaller apartment at that time, and we shot our shot, and it's paid off. We've grown rapidly nationally. We've transitioned from final expense to Medicare. We're in that transition right now. We're in our 18th month. Last week, we wrote 63 Medicare Advantage applications.
Wow.
We'll see what it ends up today. Hopefully, we'll end up be over 60 today. We still write final expense. It's put us in a bunch of other verticals. Medicare has opened multiple verticals up to me, as you can imagine. I'm very, very involved in the partnership at IFG, which I enjoy to be a part of, and I'm still building my little mom and pop brokerage here in Texas, and then I still have my brokerage nationally that we're doing. And so insurance has changed my life, man. Insurance is, and partnering with the correct people has changed my career. So I just thank God for those things, to be honest with you.
Well, it's interesting because as I'm listening to your bio and your story, I hear a lot of risk taking, that you were willing to take some shots, and obviously those were calculated risks. But what do you think about yourself that just that says that, hey, I'm willing to take that risk? Is that just a betting on yourself deal? Is that something you were brought up with that or mentored by someone to have that instilled in you? Because it just sounds like you've taken a lot of risks that's really paid off, where most people would have been too scared to take those leaps.
Well, I think most really, really aggressive entrepreneurs have came from nothing, and they're not afraid to going back to nothing.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, and so like for me, I was raised, you know, in northern New Mexico in a single wide trailer. I hit the lottery for parents. You know, they taught me good morals and values and work ethic, and I was raised with a poor mindset. If that may go have a career and, you know, be a company man and do those types of things. But I was just as happy as a 12-year-old boy in that single wide trailer eating beans and rice every day as I am now in my current life, because money didn't validate me. So when you talk about risk, like what is risk? You know, I mean, I started my company with $600, and if I would have failed, I just went back to coaching football.
Right.
You know, and so like for me, if God opens the door, we got to have the courage to run through it. If we get, you know, I definitely want to think that I'd be the guy that would step out on the rough waters if I was invited in. And I think in my personal life and my career, I think I've been invited out multiple times into these platforms, and of course they've been done with prayer, faith, counsel. You know, I didn't start building a team aggressively until I sat down and came up with a plan with Tyler and Josh and Ryan and said, hey, let's do this right. But once I realized it was an opportunity, we started to plan. We started to look at ideas of how to do this. So we went to work. You know, these opportunities or this risk that people take on in insurance, what is the risk? Loss in leads? What is the risk? Like sweat equity? Like there's no, I was looking for a job when I found this one, you know, I mean, there's not risk. Like, buy some leads, get a good trainer, get a good mentor, and then just go work a 50-hour week, watch your life change.
Right.
And, you know, that's really all there is to it. To me, and it doesn't matter if you were selling cars or if you were selling life insurance or if you were selling Medicare.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's a little bit behind that Medicare game that's pretty
Right.
awesome, that residual income.
Right.
But, you know, outside of that, I mean, you know, I just feel that people put a lot on this risk. I didn't go take $250,000 loan
Sure.
to start my company. I didn't. I mean, I went to work, and I think I did the job that no one else wants to do. And I went out and I didn't get online and tell a bunch of people that I was going to be able to do something that I hadn't already done myself.
Right.
I knew how to sell final expense. I still can go out right now and write $30,000, $40,000 in final expense insurance if I need to.
Sure.
My first phone call from Tyler Reese was like, dude, you wrote $13,000 in life insurance this week? Yeah, that's normal week, man. You know, that's normal. And so, and then it's just being able to teach. And obviously I'm an educator. And so that was passion of mine. And whenever I got to start teaching and coaching, that really became a big, man, then a fire was lit in my belly. You know?
Sure. Well, yeah, I was reading something the other day, and somebody said a lot of people aren't willing to suck at something really bad before they have success. Like, nobody wants to just step out. You know, everybody just wants to be an instant success, but they don't realize that it takes the hustle. It doesn't realize that it takes the sweat equity, to use your words. And so I've heard a couple of other things in there. How do you think being a coach helped you transition into this industry?
You know, when I was coaching, the whole environment of education has really changed in the world. You know, kids can now play a video game and be, you know, Michael Vick, and if they're not winning, turn the computer off. And,
right.
you know, and there's a lot of other distractions that are out there where when I was a kid, we loved playing football, because if you weren't playing football, dad had you out in the field working, you know, and it was a game, you know, and we've kind of changed the political environment of athletics to where now this is becoming kids' jobs. And it's the biggest false narrative there is in the country, that football is a game, and it's a great game, and you learn a lot of morals and values from that and do things. And so when I was coaching, I was holding people accountable, I was recruiting, I was teaching. We had a playbook, we were running systems.
Yeah.
We, you know, there was times we were on offense, there was times we were on defense.
Right.
You know, there was times we were trying to add things into our playbook, and times things were coming out. We diversified from special teams to offense to defense. So we wanted to be good at all three aspects of the game.
Yeah.
I had a team around me that counseled me, of coaches that would hold me accountable and give me ideas. And so, man, it was just another game. All this insurance thing is just another game. It's another locker room, another different group of guys. Right. It just pays a little better, you know?
Right. Yeah. Way better. I definitely agree with you there. Yeah. That's kind of what when I saw you at Medicare Con, you could just tell there was a lot of passion. You could tell you loved teaching people, you loved motivating people. And I'm sure a lot of those qualities transitioned over from your coaching career. The third thing that I heard in there as you were talking is about your faith. I heard you mention God several times. How does your faith play a part in your work ethic and just in your businesses in general?
You know, I'm redeemed, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm redeemed, you know, I've become fulfilled through God in the way that I understand him. And, you know, and he makes me whole, because I fall short so often. I'm a football coach, so just as much as I motivate, I can fire off, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you know, you guys get to see the good guy all the time. You know, I work with both my brothers. They'll tell you about the other guy.
Yeah. There you go.
And so, you know, I need that grace in my life. I need some real discernment. I need a place to take my worries, and I need a place to take my insecurities and my vulnerabilities.
Sure.
And I need to be able to lay them down at somebody's feet, and know that it's okay to not be perfect, and that I can make it. And in our business, and with social media, and with some of the things that we do on a daily basis, you know, I fail more than I succeed in business. And most people don't ever know that, you know, because all we ever want to talk about is our successes. Right?
Yeah.
So I fail forward. I fail more than I succeed, but my successes outweigh. And sometimes our lives can be like that. And so in my faith, there's absolutely been times in my personal life where I failed more than I've succeeded. And I'm just thankful for God that I can be forgiven of them things, that he keeps me centered, that little ego on my shoulder over here, and that guy on this shoulder that's my inner critic, those two biggest liars in the world that are telling me I'm no good, and the guy that tells me I'm the greatest guy in the world, that I can find some center. And the only place I could find being centered was in my relationship with God. And I mean, it's the absolute most important work in my life. It's the absolute most important found. My house is built on that. And people that really know me and that know that. I mean, I love insurance. I love football. I love my wife. I love my kids. But God is first for me. And then I yoke with my wife, and I work really hard in my business.
Yeah. And, you know, I've done ministry for over 20 years. And one of the things that I always teach people is that, you know, it's interesting when you discover who you are and whose you are, how it changes everything in your life. You know, that I'm living from a place of identity instead of living from walking or living in a place of trying to earn some identity. And when you truly know who God is, you're not trying to earn something. It's interesting that you just live as a son, man, or a daughter of God. And it's like you just begin to live on purpose and walk in that purpose once you really, I think so many people don't know who he is truly. You know, he's either this mean God who's just ready to zap everybody, you know, type God. But when I really discovered what grace meant, and that it's the empowerment to live on purpose. And no matter, I tell people all the time, I'm so glad you're not God. You would have gave up on me a long time ago, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's interesting.
Well, we're always working, like, you know, we're always working for position, right? Like if you think about it, even in everybody's trying to elevate and work for position.
Sure.
But true happiness is found, like, and I try to tell my guests this all the time, like your true happiness will be found when you position yourself to align with God's purpose.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's a hard balance there, because, like, you know, always in my career, I'm aggressive. I'm a coach. I'm a competitor. I want to be the best. I want to do those things. And I hope that most entrepreneurs would, but sometimes those things can get in your way. And most of my struggles in business have been my struggles, not because of somebody else. Now, of course, I wanted to blame them on somebody else, you know? But the reality is that it's usually an ego, or it's usually the inner critic where I'm fearful. And, or, you know, I mean, to me, the adversary, he's going to do three things. He's going to deceive us, right? He's going to distract us, or he's going to discourage us.
Right.
And like in my life, when things aren't going my way, I know that I have an opponent. I know there's somebody trying to keep me from meeting my eternal potential and what God intended me to become. And and usually it's one of those three things. And I'm deceived, distracted, or discouraged. And so I work hard at that, you know, and I wish a lot of days that I didn't make the mistakes that I make daily, you know, but we do. And I just need, just as much as he's forgiven me, I hope other folks can forgive me too.
Well, but I think it's something that you've touched on, and just real quickly is that I think when you get to a place that you know who you are and you're forgiven and you're redeemed, I heard you say that multiple times in the beginning, is that it's you begin to work and live from a different place, right? That no matter how much I fail today, he has more grace than I do sin, right? And I can never out sin the cross of Christ. And I think when you really understand that, it's not that it's just a license to go do whatever we want to do, but it helps us understand that God is not pushing some button that goes, oh, you're not a son today, or you're not a daughter today. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking as a father, I would never do that to my children.
Yeah. Well, my God is definitely not transactional. He's not going to give me a bigger paycheck based on my performance.
That's so good.
My God is transformative. And because of my relationship with him, I'm going to try to be a better human being every day. He's transformed my heart, my spirit, and I want to become more like him on a daily basis. the way I treat people, the way I act, the way I do business, and the way I do things. He's transformed me. There's no transaction. He's already paid for it, man. Like, we know that. Like, it's paid for. It's bought and paid for. Now I just want to be able to kneel at his feet when this is all over with and say thank you and say, man, I did everything I could to be more like you and represent you in all that I do. I've covenanted with him. I make a very clear covenant that, hey, man, I want to keep your commandments and represent you in all that I do. And some days I'm really good at that. And then there's some days I get to use a lot of his grace and mercy too. So,
yeah. So what would you like? Obviously, most people are going to be watching this channel are entrepreneurs in the insurance space, but also in different spaces want to succeed. What would you say to that person right now who just feels like a failure, who feels like, man, I've messed up so bad, you know, there's no turning it around for me? I mean, what would you say to that person if they were standing in front of you?
You know, 4 years ago when I started my company, I felt that way. I was lost. And I was doing well in insurance, but it was all transactional. And so I would tell a guy, like, no matter where you're at, whether you're an entrepreneur, insurance, struggling, like, remember where Christ walked. He walked in the red light district. Remember where he found Mary of Magdalene, where she was in her life. Remember the things. He transforms us. He loves us right where we are.
That's cool.
And so, like, and then once you find that love, you know, he meets us right where we are, right? Like, true, if you think of the last thing that our guy did, you know, the last thing my guy did before he was going to die is he got all his dudes together and he had dinner with them. He broke bread with them. And you want to know what he did? He washed their feet.
Yeah.
He served them. And so that, if he was worthy enough to serve, if he was in his position to serve them, he'll serve us.
Yeah.
And he loves us right where we are. And so if you can find and fill up that love, it's giving you goosebumps actually on my arms, but like if you can find and fill up that love right where you are, and you can get in his scope, that's the craziest thing. Like, what does God see of me, and what does he see of my potential, and can I just work towards that potential? And so I tell anybody, like, this business, any business you're in, anything that you're doing, there's going to be adversity, challenges, and a learning curve.
Sure.
But like, start your day with faith, start your day with prayer.
Yeah.
You know, start your day with some spiritual development. So many of these dudes go to a well that's empty to try to fill their bucket every day. And then they wonder why when people come to dip out of their bucket to fill their cup, there ain't nothing in there.
Right.
You know, like, you've got to have some moral framework and something inside of you that people can dip into if you're going to lead them. And that's not for free, right? It ain't. So this boy right here, if I'm hungry, guess what? I'm going to go eat.
Right.
But I have a spirit inside of me that's hungry too, that I neglect daily, that I don't feed. And it needs fed. And you got to go to certain places to feed that, and we neglect that.
Right.
Quit neglecting that. If you're sucking right now, don't suck anymore. Change your habits.
Right.
Go to the mantle and do the work you need to do so that God can pour into you, man. You know, allow him to. Like, it's literally one of my favorite pictures is a picture of Christ, and the door is closed, and Christ is on the other side, and there's a door handle. And he's just waiting for us to open the door, man. You know, you got to remember, he'll leave the 99 to find the one.
Sure.
He loves us right where we are. And so I would just say, like, hey, refocus, man. Find some spirituality. Find something that'll touch your heart and your soul and give you goosebumps and give you a fire in your belly and make the hair on your neck stand up.
Right.
Like, and then get passionate about that, and then figure out how to get that to make you money. So many other dudes just want to focus on the money. You know, quit chasing money. Start chasing that stuff, the stuff that'll just light you on fire. Figure out ways to make money doing that. And that's the way I feel about Medicare. That's the way I feel about my pharmacy. That's the way I feel about life insurance. That's the way I feel about working with innovative financial group. That's what I feel about my friends. I honestly love these guys. And so I have a fire in my belly just to go hard all the time. And it ain't, the money's a byproduct, man. This right here, me and you talking and being able to minister to each other. This is what it's about to me, man. The rest will come.
Yeah. I love what you're saying, because the good news is he meets us where we are. And the best news of all is he doesn't leave us there. That's what I love. He wants to transform us, as you said earlier, and change us. And like you said, you can't go lead people to somewhere you've never been, and you can't give someone something that you don't have. Right. And I love that you got to fill that bucket. You got to keep pouring into that bucket. And I know a lot of people out there, they're haters, man, and they think, oh, that's just more self-help positivity stuff. But man, there's so much negativity. There's so much stuff out there that just strips away, just can strip away just anything positive in your life. And if you're not constantly pouring in that bucket, you become depleted, anemic,
I
so
got. I want to share just a short story with you. I don't
go
know how
ahead.
much time you have me cut out, Rob, but shut me off, man. I'll run it.
No, go ahead, man.
So when I was coaching football, I was an assistant coach. I was actually right out of college. Actually, I was still in college, and I was an assistant football coach, and I was coaching the freshman football team.
Okay.
And my squad was a little. We were short, round, and slow, so we weren't the best football team. And we weren't very strong, but the good news is we weren't very strong, so that was okay. And so we were trying to figure this out. And so
Right.
I figured out how to recruit this year. And that year in my life, I was probably 21 years old and pretty judgmental in my life. Anyway, we won't get into too depth. But anyway, I was walking around. I got assigned duty. I had to walk around the school after school to make sure kids weren't making poor choices. And I seen this kid doing these kick flips on his skateboard off the top of these steps. And I mean, it was 4 or 5 or 6 steps. And his name's Shay. And he was landing it just perfectly. And I was like, this kid's a stinking athlete. Mm-hmm. In my mind, though, immediately he had green hair. And immediately when I saw the kid, I started to judge him. He's a turd. Oh, he's this and that. And I had this feeling in my heart, talk to this kid. And so I listened to that. Okay. And I talked to that kid. Okay. And I recruited that kid. Okay. And that kid ran for 1,400 yards for me that year.
Wow.
Okay. He ended up graduating from high school. He's working in northern New Mexico now, has a beautiful family, graduated with a great GPA, married his high school sweetheart. All in that moment, you talk about transformation. You talk about in that moment being able to be a vessel for God and miracles, right? Sure. That wasn't me. That was a God thing. Here's this kid riding. He would have rode that skateboard forever. He ended up being a freshman, super talented, never carried a football in his life. I said, Shay, and his girlfriend's name was Summer, and she was sitting right there next to him, and her daddy was a big booster for our football team. I said, Summer, Shay's going to come play football for me. I knew who the audience was. I didn't have a, what do we call it when we have just the husband's there and the wife's not? I had them both. Well, one-legger.
One-legger, right.
I said, Summer, Shay's going to come play football for me. And I shook his hand. And he came out, he ended up playing football, and it ended up being a huge transformation in his life, right? And that's what me and you do on a daily basis. I hope that's what our platform is being used for. I hope that's our purpose, is that we can make a difference in people's lives for good, whether it be our clients in insurance, whether it be our insurance agents that work for us, or whether it be in mine and your dialogue in the things that we're trying to do, and it could be a 14-year-old kid with a green hair doing kick flips on a skateboard, all the way down to being able to talk to the Medicare minister, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting you bring that up because, here in Tupelo, where our office is, I have 2 agents that I've recruited over the past 6 months. One of them was in my youth group when I served at his father-in-law's church. Of course, he married the pastor's daughter, and he is killing it. His name is Jackson. And so, I totally agree. You just never know, man, where God leads you and you make those connections. The other one was a guy I met through a mutual friend about 5 years ago. And he actually helped us pastor at the church and is still there, but he's also needed, to make money, and he needed it to. And so both of them, one of them has been the top salesman all year, except for like 3 weeks out of the whole year so far. And the other one has just been killing the rewrites, the med subs. So it's just a blessing when you're able to make these connections, and you never know, where God is going to lead you, and you never know. And one of my purposes is I want to be able to help people in the church make a good living. And I believe insurance, Medicare, life, final expense, all of that, annuities, the whole 9 yards is just a great platform to make an eternal difference here while we're here on this earth. So I'm glad you you shared that story. Just a few more things here, because I want to respect your time. I know you're a busy guy, and once again, I'm so thankful that you took some time today. Real quickly, and I've asked this question to everybody I've interviewed so far. If there was one word that you would use to describe yourself, this is part A, what word would that be? And then part B to that is, how has that one word helped you achieve the success that you've achieved today?
Empathetic.
Okay.
And I think it's been a double-edged sword for me. I think I try to put myself in everybody else's shoes. And I feel like with my team, I sometimes give too much maybe, or
Sure.
I try to put myself right in their shoes, I think that's been one of the gifts that I've been given, is that I can just meet people right where they are. And I think that's true leadership, is if you can meet somebody right where they are, and then you can identify where they want to go.
Yeah.
And then you create a vehicle to take them from point A to point B. That's all leadership is. And God's given me a gift. I feel that I can meet people right where they are.
Right.
And that's empathy. I can walk a mile in their shoes. Now I've had to develop the other skills of how to identify where other people want to go. And then also insurance has been the vehicle to help them get from point A to point B. My faith has been a vehicle. Football has been a vehicle. And so I would say that those would probably be it. I think that I can feel what you feel when you're up, I'm up. I can meet you when you're down. I can meet you when you're down. I feel those things.
Yeah.
And I just kind of feel that may be a thing. If my wife's having a terrible day, and I can, or even if she just has a headache, I feel those things. I can come in and know and identify, and I feel that, and I want to immediately fix that.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not aspirin, man.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, because John Maxwell has a quote that says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that sounds like you're that type of leader, that you genuinely care. And like you said, it can be a double-edged sword. Some people can abuse that, but I would rather be known for a leader that genuinely cares than one who's just trying to use people. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what this
definitely a player's coach, man. I'm not a suit and tie coach. I'm in the field general, right here with the guys. Hoorah when they're down, boost them up when they have marital problems. I want to be there when their kids are struggling. I'm that guy. And so that keeps me probably from being able to go to a big national scale. Because I want to have that personal relationship. I hate to see people fail, and I take it very personal. It's because I didn't do my job, I feel sometimes. And so, that's that, which people think that's crazy.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, because you are a man of faith and you've been so successful. A lot of times, I know I got stuck in this ministry myth that, if you were a minister, you couldn't make a lot of money. There was haters out there. How do you reconcile the money and the faith? Can you just share real briefly on that? Because I think there's a lot of people that will watch this channel that are in that space of ministry, and whether they're just, part-time, full-time, just doing this on the side, or maybe they're just Christians who have a limiting belief that God doesn't want them to have this kind of money. Because you and I both know in this space, you can make a lot of money. How have you reconciled that?
Well, I make the money never will make me.
Oh, that's good.
That's the truth. And so, and my purpose is very, very simple. My purpose is to align with what God has designed me to become, so that I can make a difference in the world for good. That's it. And so money's a byproduct of that. So if I make $1 billion this year, or I make $100,000 this year, that doesn't matter. With my family, we live within our means. My house is in order. We do the things that we're supposed to internally, whether in reading the scriptures, in spending time with God, and going to church, and paying our tithes, and doing the things that we're supposed to do. All of the things that I have covenanted to with God, my spiritual contracts to Him are met. And do I fall short at times? Absolutely. Yeah. That's where His grace comes in. But I can promise you this: He knows that my intentions are honorable. And that's what God wants. God wants us to be able to use our platform for a purpose that aligns with Him. that we can really make a difference in the world for good. And I mean, I sat in an office with 50, well, 50 is an exaggeration. We all exaggerate. 25 kids that were under the age of 25 that are having miserable experiences in their college experience. And now they're getting to sell life insurance and they're having success and they're winning. And then guess what? I also ministered to them.
Yeah.
So not only did I teach those kids, see, this is where I think a lot of us as Christians miss the ball, is that God gives us a platform, but we don't use it for his purpose. So God's given me a platform, and when I have an audience, I'm going to talk of God. When I was at the Medicare deal that I spoke at, I spoke of God in front of 1,000. I don't know how many people were there, a bunch of people. And when I walked off the stage, I wanted people to know that my success is because of God.
Yeah.
That my success was because of his grace and the love that he's given me. So don't ever think that making money and having a platform is not aligned with God's will. It all comes from God. Sure. It just matters what your response and how you use that to make a difference in the world.
Yeah. And I tell people that all the time. That's some great advice, that money's neither good nor bad. It's neutral. Yep. Right. But we live in a world that teaches us to use people and love money, but God wants us to love people and use our money in such a way that helps people come to know him and line up with their eternal purpose. So I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of people struggle with that.
I live in Texas, man. There's churches as big can be here. And you want to know what? Those dudes are making a difference. Yeah. You know what? And then you know what? I have a place out in East Texas, and there's these little churches on the corner that maybe 15 people go to. And you want to know what? Right. Them dudes are making a difference. Right? I've seen, I work with Tyler. Tyler makes a difference, and he testifies of God, and he has this huge organization, and he stands for things that are right. And then I have my little organization, and guess what? I try to stand for what's right. It comes down to behaviors and intentions, right? I mean, people that ain't got no money make bad choices every day. Right. And people that have money make bad choices every day, right? The money didn't make you. You made the choice. Your moral framework is who you are. And I just feel that if you're aligned with the testimony and spirituality, and you're aligned in grace and mercy, and you're willing to invest in those things, then are you going to make mistakes? Absolutely. Sure. But will they be intentional? Will they be trying to hurt or stand on somebody else's head? The answer is no, man. And then I hope that I do get in a situation in my life. We have 2 children that live with us that are not ours. That's another thing that's very personal to me, right? And God put them in my life, right? And so if I was broke, there's no way I could have taken on that responsibility. Yeah. Right. And so God has continued, I hope that's the prayer on my heart every morning, is I'm like, God, just allow me to be a utensil in your hands. Use me for what you need to use me for today. And maybe today, the only thing I get accomplished that's good is this with you. Right. But that's all that matters, is that he's using me and what he's given me. This money I've made, he's given me. Sure. The money that I've lost, we've lost. It doesn't matter. Right. So I just have a different mindset on that deal there, man. I'm comfortable with what God has given me so I can help people, man.
Yeah. I love that, man. That's some great advice that I think a lot of people need to hear, and some nuggets and some gold. Listen, as we get ready to close, what is one thing, I've been asking people this of interviewing, what is one thing that maybe people don't know about Ricky? Like whether it's whether you can roll your tongue into a taco, or, whether it's something funny or just something unique. What is one thing that you think most people wouldn't know about you?
Well, I guess, let me think. One thing that people wouldn't know, I'm just an open book, man. I don't know. I guess.
Is there a talent? Is there a hobby? Is there a skill? Or, is it something that you do that you go, man, we would never think Ricky would do that, or just something kind of unique, funny, out of the ordinary?
I guess I would say I'm that, this is going to make y'all laugh, but I'm that guy that cries at the movies, man.
Really? Okay.
I do. I embarrass my wife all the time. Man, I'm the guy you never want to take grocery shopping with you, because I feel like I got to talk to everybody in the grocery store.
I got you.
And so I'm that guy. everything you see is what you get. I'm just as fiery as I am emotional about things.
So, so I got to know then, if you're a crier at the movies, are you a chick flick guy? Do you cry in the chick flicks, or what kind of movies make you cry?
If it's good, it don't matter, man. If it's
Yeah.
it don't matter. It can go from Saving Private Ryan to the Titanic. It don't matter, man. If it hits me in my feels, I'm gonna let you have it.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I'm a crier at the movies too, man. My 12-year-old always goes, "Dad, are you okay?" And I'm like, it's the air conditioning, it's my allergies, type deal. So I get it.
I heard a guy speak one time. He said, I'll see if I can get it right. He says, "I'm built backwards." He says, "My nose runs and my feet smell."
There you go. There you go.
There you go. But I don't know. I think that I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with the emotions that we as men, if I can preach for just a minute.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
We have totally demasculinated. I don't know what the word is there. Men, and in a sense that we can't show emotion, that we can't be fiery, that we can't, be passionate in any form of emotion. And God designed me exactly the way I am. And what you get is, I get emotional when somebody's hurting. I cry with them. When I'm the guy that's good. I'm just that, and I'm comfortable with how God is designed to be. And we are so often trying to put ourselves in this box, this box of popularity, this box of production, this box of whatever it's supposed to. I'm supposed to dress a certain way and act a certain way, and I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, I just want. He made me uniquely and in his image.
Right.
And I want to be able to become exactly what he intended me to become. And I'm comfortable with that. And if that means that if my little girl's going on her first dates at 15 years old and it makes me cry, I'm going to hold her and I'm going to cry about it. Where other dudes won't be, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm very comfortable in my faith. I'm very comfortable in my family and who I am. I'm not popular. I don't care to be popular. I care to be aligned, and I'm aligned.
That's good, man. And listen, just one last thing here as we close is, what is some success advice, principles? Because you took a $600 investment, right? You felt like you were aligned with God's purpose. And I know you don't like to talk about yourself, and I don't ask this question, in a sense to be braggadocious on your part, but what does that $600 investment turn into? Can you tell us a little about what that looks like today? But then as we close, not only give us that, but what are some success principles or some advice for those out there that are watching that you would give them if you just had a couple of seconds or a minute or two with them? What are some words of wisdom you would give? I mean, you've dropped so much during this interview, but once again, if you'll just share with us what that $600 investment is grossed you today, where you're at today, maybe share some of your businesses, what you're doing, but then also as we close, give us some advice, give us some words from the heart, man.
I would say, don't ever overvalue yourself and undervalue the people you work with.
That's good.
And that's up and down.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes we get that's ego. Align with something. Do first, teach later.
Oh, that's good.
That's something that we're in a deal where I think people want to just teach and recruit, and I think that's nonsense.
Right.
I would also say that don't ever put yourself in a financial situation that you can't bail yourself out of with your own pen.
Oh, yeah.
If you can't write your way out of it, slow down, buddy. Pump the brakes. I made that mistake. Okay. So I would say, I would just say, be an expert, but be a real expert.
Yeah.
Be a real expert. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean. There's a lot of fakers out there. I get it.
I mean, I still feel like I tell people I've been in Medicare 18 months. I'm learning, man. I'm in it. And guess what? I'm reaching out to dudes every day and they're throwing nuggets to me. But you want to know where we're learning? We're learning right out here in the street, man. We're buying leads and we're using technology and we're hitting a volume of appointments and we're cranking. And then I would also say, there's not a job in my organization that's beneath me, ever. ever. I'll be the guy that washes the windows, the guy that cleans the toilet. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I will never ask anybody to do anything that I won't do. And then lead from the front, man, and be passionate. As a newly starting agent, like, focus on mentorship, find a good guy, and then trust behaviors, not what they say. Because everybody's got something to say. We're all salespeople.
Right.
All of us are. Right. I mean, I could flip over to any one of these websites or any one of these social media platforms, and somebody's trying to sell somebody on something, do something on something. Trust behaviors. Most sales are done in an emotional transfer. Don't get emotionally transferred. Yeah. Find a real mentor, somebody who's got moral framework, someone who's going to do it the right way, someone who will lead from the front, somebody who will not only mentor you spiritually, but also mentor you in your family, that will mentor you in your business, teach you about taxes, do the things that you're supposed to. So many dudes are just doing it the wrong way, man. And it's so easy to do it the right way. Sure. And so, and 1 week or 1 month is not a reflection. It's one paragraph in your book. Yeah. And so many of us are like, oh, I bought 50 leads and the leads sucked and I didn't get it done. And then, man, come on, man. 1 week is not who you are. Like 1 month is not who you are. This is if you were dropping fries in at Mickey D's, there'd be a learning curve. Right. Right. If you were welding on a pipeline, there'd be a learning curve. Right. If you were climbing up a telephone pole to work on electricity, there'd be a learning curve. Right. So why do we believe that there's no learning curve in this? Right. Allow the learning curve to happen. Yeah. Trust the process, man. And I'm going to say this to the mentors: quit lying to these dudes. Yeah, that's good. Quit lying to these dudes. Right. You know, be honest with them. Like, you can come into this industry and make $50,000 in the first year. You can, but you're going to work hard. Right. And in the second year, you can make $100,000 if you work hard. And then in the third year, you can make $150,000 if you work hard. But most of these dudes want to sell this dream, and the money's made in the mangers, boys. Pick up a shovel and go shovel the poo. That's where it's made, man. Right. So tell us a little bit as we close, like the success part. I mean, because you worked hard for years, took the $600 investment. You have different companies, right? Can you just share a little bit of those achievements? And like I said, not to be braggadocious, but to show people what can happen if you do work hard and you do plug into the right community and you do things right and you do things that align with God's purpose. I mean, you got the final expense side, but what other things do you have going on? Yeah, so we have the final expense side going on, which is doing well. I'm very involved. I'm an executive board member on Innovative's partnership program, which I'm very proud to be a part of that, affiliated with that. I own a pharmacy. I'm opening my second and third pharmacy currently. Wow. We have a private equity consulting firm that we work on. I'm also we just started that, and that's going really well for us. Of course, like everybody else, we're in the crypto space. That's going really well. Awesome. And then of course my passion right now is in Medicare. I'm aggressively getting ready to do some LOA model type stuff. I'm almost in a position where I can do that. But I didn't skip any steps. Yeah. Like most dudes are like, oh, I'm going to start a LOA shop and go to work and Well, hey, we're 18 months, 24 months into this deal and we're still not ready. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm not going to skip steps, and my guys are frothing at the bit. Like, Rick, let's get this going. Nah, dog, we're not going to skip steps. Like, we're going to continue to go and grow. Like, there's a certain level amount of capital, things that we have to be in place to make these things happen. And so, so those are a few things that we have going on. We're in the process of buying a cattle ranch and doing those things. All of my family will live on it together. Both my brothers. So here's my successes. Now that I've bragged about a bunch of nonsense, okay? Here's my real successes, all right? My mom and dad live 5 miles from me. My in-laws live on my property with me. My wife gets to stay home every single day with my kids, and we have the autonomy to do the things in time that we want to. Both of my brothers are involved in my company and work directly with me every single day. My brother-in-law just joined and my nephew did, and I get to work with people that I love every single day. Okay. Everybody on my team are like family. Like my Dallas team, they know if they need something, they can call me. The relationships that I've built, I mean, I could pick this phone up right now. Tyler Reese is on vacation. I could call him, he'd answer. And he's a friend. And I have some really good friends, people that I love and that I'm passionate to work with and work for. So all this other stuff, all these other things that are going on, yeah, man, it's fun. I get to be God's allowed me to create these verticals and do this stuff. But dude, I wake up every day and work with the people that I love every single day. I get to minister every Monday to my team in an executive meeting. They come in and there's 21 and we sit down and I get to have a devotional with them. I get to tell them what's going on in my life, my struggles, and I mean, you can't put a price tag on any of that stuff, man.
Right.
You know, I just love it. I have literally my 12-year-old's birthday's this weekend. We're geeking out on these S-Series Teslas. And so we're going to Turo an S-Series and for his birthday, so we can go have some fun. And he's waiting on me. And my job allows me to do that, man. Yeah. Like my job allows my son to be able to be with me. So like, I love the autonomy. I love what I'm able to do. I love the people I get to work with. And then all the other stuff is cool, right? All the other verticals are cool. But,
yeah. And
but that's just, man.
I love the fact that you are more focused on what really matters. And because, you know, money comes and goes, awards, all that kind of stuff. Those are great. But, you know, I love that, man. Friends, family, your faith. And so that's awesome. Well, listen, Ricky, man, I was just so excited to meet you at Medicare Con, and I look forward to meeting you again at some of these conferences in the future. Look forward to hearing you speak. And you're an inspiration to me, man. And you've encouraged me today. You encouraged me at Medicare Con. I know God's going to continue to use you to make an impact in people's lives. And just can't wait to meet you in person again, man, and just hang out and fellowship and, you know, just.
Well, I'd like to congratulate you, man, on closing the gap. Like, you know, most dudes never close the gap with execution. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you were talking earlier in the call, and I wanted to make sure you knew, I knew this, like you've stepped out onto the water and you're really aligning with God's purpose. So I congratulate you, man. Like what comes of it comes of it, but you'll make a difference. I promise you made a difference in my life today, and you're going to make a difference in people's lives every day. And as long as you continue to do that, abundance will come, blessings will come. And it may not, abundance doesn't mean money.
Yeah.
You know, your marriage will be strengthened. Your kids will have health. All the things that matter to us, you know, God knows the desires of your heart. So congratulations for closing that gap, bro.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I thought you were preaching there good for, you know, different times during the interview. I tried to break out the organ and the choir, man. I thought we were going to keep But listen, man, I appreciate you, bro. I know you're busy. I hope you have a great birthday weekend with your son. And thank you, man. Sincerely, thank you for taking time today. It means a lot.
Absolutely, man. If you guys ever need anything, you know where I am. I believe in you. You guys are doing special things there in Mississippi. You know, us little guys are trying to keep up with you big dogs now.
We're glad that we're partnered with you too, man. And friendship means a lot. So listen, man, have a blessed weekend, and we'll connect soon.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one, guys. See you later.